One particular issue that caught our attention at the Bankers Forum was the credibility of financial institutions. During the conference, I had a chat with Dr. Stephen Roche, Asian chairman of Morgan Stanley. For most financial institutions in China, today their top priority seems to be scale or rapid expansion. What about the credibility factor? Do you see they have this credibility issue in China?
Well, I think that's really going to be a function of regulatory oversight and enforcement. The more the regulatory officials really bring out in a very direct way various transgressions or violations of code, the more that comes out into the open clearly, and the more that institutions are then asked to take remedial actions to repair the damage, I think the better the credibility becomes. It's inevitable, given the rapid growth in China and the legacy effects of policy-directed lending, that there are going to be some slippages along the way. And there have been in China, there have been in any country that's gone down the road of economic development from poor countries to rich countries. China is not alone in that regard. The key, though, is for the authorities to really turn the screws in terms of enforcement. That will be important in establishing credibility.
So are you saying the Chinese government isn't strong enough in regulating the market?
No, I think as the regulators continue to bring issues of a violation out into the open. President Hu Jintao made a speech this week on corruption again. Those are all very important milestones on the road to establishing the credibility of authority in China, whether it's in the financial sector or any other sector.
What aspects do you think the Chinese government or authorities, regulators, can be stronger?
Just disclosing lending irregularities, trading irregularities, being transparent on non-performing loans, and just opening up the system. Don't keep it closed. Everyone knows that in any banking system, there are problems. Look what's going on in the United States right now with subprime lending. This is a really horrible problem, and we're opening it up. And we still don't know the full extent of it, but the more we do, the more we will provide security to borrowers in the future that we will not allow this to happen again. China needs to just take a look at that. If you build a solid system, you can't be afraid to open up when there are problems.
So transparency is crucial.
Transparency is critical.
When we talk about credibility, we're talking about responsibility for the financial institution to their clients, to their consumers, but to government as well. So what comes first?
Look, I think at the end of the day, you have to put the people first, because whether it's China or any other society, if you ignore the rights of individuals for the sake of economic growth, the foundation of that growth is going to be fragile and vulnerable to a setback. So I think that's my own sense. In a culture where there's shareholder values and government accountability, those other considerations get into the equation. But first and foremost has to be the borrower, the depositor, and making certain that the system is not imposing unfair pressures on them.
But it's hard to reach a balance. There could be times of conflict of interest among the different stakeholders.
The conflict of interests are intrinsic in the nature of the business. And it's up for the regulators to really understand the balance between those conflicts. And I think, again, that's true in China, it's true in the United States, it's true in any economy that I've ever studied.
You emphasize the role of the regulators and the authorities. But what about on the side of the financial institutions themselves? What can they do, Chinese local institutions and foreign institutions, to improve their credibility?
Internal controls. Absolutely critical. They have to have their own internal system of regulatory oversight so they can catch something before the outside regulator does. That's the way good institutions prosper and develop. We spend a lot of money, time, and talent on the risk management process. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but that's the way we catch things before they become more serious problems that would entail some regulatory oversight.
Do you feel some of the local Chinese institutions are lacking such skills and internal control?
Risk management is a real challenge in China and in most developing market financial institutions. It's new. This is a country that has a legacy of a lot of policy-directed lending where SOEs were funded by bureaucracies rather than credit allocated on a prudential basis. And that's changing in China, but it's hard to really get the lending culture in a short period of time.